Everybody has a role in your life. Not everybody can be the superstar of the story. And I don't keep around villains.
Some chefs call him a hero. Others call him a joke. Behind the sunglasses and catchphrases, Guy Fieri has become one of the most divisive figures in the food world. He's built an empire, but not everyone's buying what he's selling. From savage public takedowns to surprising friendships, these are the chefs who can't stand him, and the ones who swear by him. You won't believe who's on which side, or what they've said about the mayor of Flavortown behind his back. Let's discover. Number 15. Tom Colicchio. Did a Top Chef legend just dismiss Guy Fieri's entire career with one sentence? Tom Colicchio is one of the most respected chefs in America, founder of the award-winning craft restaurants and longtime head judge on Bravo's Top Chef. He's known for taking food seriously. So when he questioned the very existence of Guy's grocery games, it didn't go unnoticed. During an appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, Colicchio was asked for his thoughts on Guy's hit show. His response? Pure disbelief. Laughing, he said, "That grocery thing, how did that get made?" He later admitted the show was fun, but his tone made it clear he doesn't think it's real cooking. To understand the clash, you need to understand the context. Colicchio comes from fine dining and believes in classic culinary training. He worked under legends like Thomas Keller and opened Gramercy Tavern in the 1990s, setting the standard for upscale American food. Fieri, meanwhile, won the Next Food Network star in 2006, launched diners, drive-ins, and dives, and leaned into over-the-top comfort food, personality-driven shows, and massive brand deals. Their worlds couldn't be more different, and Colicchio's jab wasn't just about one show. It hinted at a bigger divide in food media: trained chefs versus TV entertainers. Colicchio seems to view Fieri's brand as shallow, even if it's wildly successful. And while Guy Fieri hasn't directly responded to Colicchio, fans saw the moment as a rare case of a respected chef publicly mocking one of Food Network's biggest names. Was it a joke? Sure, but it was also a message. Not everyone in the culinary world thinks Guy's trip to Flavortown deserves a spotlight. Number 14. Anthony Bourdain. Anthony Bourdain didn't just dislike Guy Fieri, he roasted him for years. From snide remarks to full-on public mockery, Bourdain made it clear. He didn't see Guy as a serious figure in the culinary world. It started with Guy's Times Square restaurant, Guy's American Kitchen and Bar, which Bourdain once called a terror dome. He tore into the food, the prices, the decor, even the menu's spelling. But that was only the beginning. In interview after interview, Bourdain took shots at Fieri's style, calling it cartoonish, over the top, and bad for food culture. He joked about Fieri's appearance, his love for Nickelback, and once said he'd set back the art of spelling by decades. And the mockery didn't stop there. In his book Medium Raw, Bourdain wrote that Fieri's brand was the face of mediocrity and criticized the Food Network for pushing style over substance. He mocked Fieri's persona, the flaming shirts, the frosted hair, as something closer to a theme park mascot than a chef. To Bourdain, it wasn't just personal. It was about defending food as art. He believed Fieri's popularity symbolized everything wrong with American food TV. Too loud, too safe, too fake. Fieri rarely fired back. At Bourdain's roast in 2012, he joked, "Is it because you went to a fancy culinary school and I didn't?" But in later interviews, he admitted the attacks were disappointing, calling them bitter and unnecessary. He said he didn't understand why Bourdain had made it so personal. especially since the two barely knew each other off camera. When Bourdain died in 2018, Fieri said nothing publicly. No tweet, no tribute, no comment. Some saw it as cold, others as dignified, but it left one of the food world's most bitter feuds permanently unresolved. Their clash wasn't about recipes, it was a culture war, and no one ever waved a white flag. Number 13. Alton Brown. Alton Brown and Guy Fieri may have shared the same network, but their respect for each other? That's a different story. In 2017, during a panel at DragonCon, Brown dropped what sounded like a casual joke, but it hit hard. While announcing the return of his show, Good Eats, he said Food Network would have to cut diners, drive-ins, and dives down to 7.5 hours a day to make room for it. The crowd laughed, but the jab was sharp. Fieri's show was everywhere, and Brown clearly thought it was too much. This wasn't just a funny quip. Behind the scenes, tension had been brewing for years. Alton Brown is known for his scientific, educational approach to cooking. He treats food like chemistry, precise, controlled, intellectual. Fieri, on the other hand, leans into chaos, comfort, and character. One is all facts, the other is all flavor. While Brown never launched a full-blown attack like Anthony Bourdain, he made it clear that Fieri's brand of non-stop, personality-driven programming was not his thing. And as Food Network gave Guy more airtime and delayed or canceled other shows, the subtext became obvious. Brown wasn't just annoyed by the show, he was frustrated with the network's direction. To this day, Brown has never apologized or clarified his comments. Fieri, true to form, didn't respond publicly, but fans took note. Two of Food Network's biggest stars, locked in a quiet, one-sided rivalry over airtime, tone, and what food TV should be. Number 12. Buddy Velastro. In a world full of rivalries and shade, Buddy Velastro is one of the few big-name chefs who actually gets along with Guy Fieri, and not just for the cameras. These two over-the-top Italian-American food stars have built an unlikely bond rooted in mutual respect, Vegas real estate, and full-throttle personality. Their restaurants, Guy Fieri's Vegas Kitchen and Bar and Buddy V's Ristorante, are located within walking distance of each other on the Las Vegas Strip. And instead of competing, they've chosen to celebrate each other's success. In 2020, Buddy appeared as a guest judge on Guy's Grocery Games. The vibe? Completely relaxed, full of laughter, and surprisingly wholesome. Fans praised their chemistry, two food titans who weren't afraid to have fun. But this wasn't a one-off. The following year, Buddy dropped into Guy's restaurant for lunch with his son and posted about it on Instagram, calling Guy a true friend and one of the most genuine guys in the business. Behind the scenes, their friendship makes perfect sense. Both men came from family-run food businesses. Both built empires on television. Buddy through Cake Boss, Guy through diners, drive-ins and dives. And both faced early criticism from the culinary elite for being too commercial or too loud. Instead of backing down, they doubled down and turned their names into brands. Some might see it as a PR friendship, but the consistency and sincerity say otherwise. In an industry known for jealousy and fake smiles, Guy and Buddy seem to have found something real, loyalty without ego. Call it the Flavortown Cake Boss Alliance. Over the top? Yes. But in a sea of snark, their friendship is refreshingly simple. Two guys who climbed to the top and didn't forget to fist bump on the way up. Number 11. Lynn. Lynn isn't a celebrity chef. He doesn't run a Michelin-starred kitchen. He cooks Chinese-American comfort food in North Pole, Alaska. And yet, Guy Fieri has featured him not once, not twice, but multiple times on national television. Why? Because Lynn represents exactly what Guy Fieri fights for: great food in the most unexpected places. Lynn is the owner of Pagoda Restaurant, a long-running local favorite that serves everything from kung pao shrimp to crab rangoons, with a focus on fresh, local seafood. When Fieri first showed up with the diners, drive-ins, and dives crew, many viewers probably expected a novelty segment. What they got instead was genuine admiration. Guy praised Lynn's technique, his dedication to quality, and his creative twist on classic dishes. But their connection didn't stop there. Over the years, Lynn and Fieri have been spotted together off-set, once even hiking in the Alaskan wilderness with fellow featured chef Aristo. These weren't just promo shots. They were real moments between friends. Fieri once called Benny the real deal, and it's not hard to see why. Lynn's story, a quiet, hard-working chef serving up bold flavors in one of the coldest, most remote towns in America, is the kind of narrative that never gets screen time. But Guy changed that. It's easy to think Fieri only supports flashy diners and over-the-top personalities, but his friendship with Benny Lynn tells a different story, one that proves Guy doesn't just seek flavor, he seeks heart. Number 10. Antonia Lefaso. When it comes to Guy Fieri's inner circle, Antonia Lefaso isn't just in, she's one of the few who can match his energy, talent, and influence. But what really shocks people? Behind the laughs and kitchen banter, their friendship has become one of the most trusted alliances in Food Network history. Antonia rose to fame as a powerhouse competitor on shows like Top Chef and Iron Chef Gauntlet. But it was her recurring role on Guy's grocery games that changed everything. She wasn't just a guest. She became a fixture, judging dozens of episodes, mentoring contestants, and sometimes stepping back into the arena herself. Fieri didn't just bring her on for credibility, he relied on her. And it's not just television. When Guy Fieri's son Hunter got engaged in early 2024, it wasn't a celebrity chef like Bobby Flay or Gordon Ramsay cooking the wedding feast. It was Antonia Lefaso. Along with fellow Fieri insider Aaron May, she's set to cater the high-profile event, proving just how tight-knit the connection is. But here's the twist. Lefaso isn't known for playing nice behind the scenes. She's direct, competitive, and fiercely respected in the chef world. If she didn't trust or respect Guy, she wouldn't be anywhere near his empire. That makes her loyalty all the more powerful and rare. The bond between them is professional, personal, and mutually beneficial. Fieri gives Lefaso space to shine. Lefaso brings sharp credibility to his otherwise chaotic kitchen shows. And in an industry full of fake smiles and forced chemistry, this connection actually works. Two culinary forces, one spotlight, and zero drama. For Guy Fieri, having Antonia in his corner isn't just a win, it's a power move. Number 9. David Chang. David Chang and Guy Fieri may both be titans of food television, but their philosophies couldn't be further apart. Chang, the founder of the Momofuku Empire and host of Ugly Delicious, has built his career on depth, nuance, and pushing boundaries. Fieri, meanwhile, is known for bold flavors, big laughs, and unapologetic excess. And when these two worlds collided, it wasn't pretty. So what happens when a Michelin-level chef sees Food Network's biggest star as a walking punchline? In 2009, at the New York Food and Wine Festival, Chang reportedly unloaded on Fieri during a panel. His biggest issue? That Fieri's wild look and larger-than-life personality took attention away from the food. He mocked the bleach blonde hair, the sunglasses, the catchphrases, and made it clear that if he ever started acting like Fieri, Someone should throw him down the stairs. It wasn't a joke. It was contempt. Chang's comments didn't stop there. Over the years, he's been openly dismissive of food entertainers who lean too heavily on personality and branding. While he never mentioned Fieri by name again, fans and critics alike knew exactly who he was talking about. The message was clear. In Chang's world, Fieri represented everything wrong with food media. But here's the twist. Both men have massive fan bases. Fieri dominates Food Network. Chang leads the high-end food doc space. They're both kings, just in very different kingdoms. And although Fieri has never publicly responded to Chang's insults, the silence speaks volumes. This isn't just a clash of chefs. It's a culture war, streetwise spectacle versus culinary prestige, and neither side seems ready to back down. Number 8. Carl Ruiz. Carl Ruiz wasn't just a guest on Guy Fieri's shows, he was family. Their bond went deeper than TV. They cooked together, laughed together, and built a brotherhood that viewers felt through the screen. But behind the scenes, the story was even more intense, filled with rapid success, heavy expectations, and a tragic ending that stunned the culinary world. Ruiz first met Fieri when his New Jersey deli, Marie's Italian Specialties, was featured on diners, drive-ins, and dives in 2013. Fieri saw something rare: unfiltered charm, sharp talent, and pure grit. Carl wasn't polished, but he was real. Within a few years, he became a fan favorite on Guy's grocery games, appearing in over 60 episodes. He started as a contestant and won so often that Fieri made him a permanent judge. But what happens when the fame gets too big, too fast? Ruiz skyrocketed into the spotlight, gaining fans, followers, and pressure. He opened a new restaurant, La Cubana, in New York City, and the expectations were massive. Still, he remained loyal to Guy, often calling him a brother and crediting him for changing his life. Fieri, in turn, constantly praised Carl's skill and humor. Then, in September of 2019, tragedy struck. Ruiz died suddenly of a heart attack at just 44 years old. Fieri was devastated. He didn't just post a tribute, he launched a tipping initiative in Carl's honor, urging people to leave extra cash at local restaurants. His silence during the funeral and the weeks that followed was loud. The grief was real. This wasn't a feud or a rivalry. It was a deep, authentic friendship that ended without warning. Carl Ruiz wasn't just a character in Guy Fieri's universe. He was one of the few people who helped build it. And when he was gone, the show never felt the same. What's your all-time favorite Guy Fieri food moment? And does any guest ever come close to Carl Ruiz's legacy? Number 7. Pete Wells. No one in food journalism has ever roasted Guy Fieri as hard or as publicly as Pete Wells did in the New York Times. In 2012, Wells published what many still consider the most savage restaurant review ever written. His target? Guy's American Kitchen and Bar in Times Square. The headline alone was brutal. As not seen on TV. The review was structured as a series of sarcastic questions, nearly 40 of them, mocking everything from the food to the service to the atmosphere. Wells questioned whether the frozen drinks had alcohol in them. He asked if the food had been left under heat lamps for days. He even made fun of the spelling on the menu. But beneath the humor was something deeper, a direct attack on Fieri's credibility as a chef and restaurateur. Why did one of the most powerful food critics in America go after Guy Fieri like that? Some say it was personal. Others believe it was symbolic, a shot fired at the rise of celebrity-driven, mass-market dining. Fieri's brand represented everything Wells seemed to hate: Big flavor, big branding, and almost no culinary restraint. Guy didn't stay quiet. In interviews, he pushed back, saying the review felt like a hit job and questioned why Wells didn't reach out before publishing. He also said critics like Wells miss the point, that his food isn't meant for snobs, but for everyday people. The clash became headline news, sparking debates about food snobbery, elitism, and what makes a restaurant good. Over a decade later, the review still haunts Fieri's legacy, not because it ruined him, but because it showed just how far some in the food world will go to tear him down. And yet, he's still standing. Number 6. Eric Rivera. Eric Rivera never held back his opinions, and when it came to Guy Fieri, he made sure the world knew exactly where he stood. While most chefs kept their criticism subtle, Rivera went straight for the jugular. In mid-2023, a photo of Guy Fieri greeting Donald Trump at a UFC event went viral. The handshake was casual, the setting was loud, but the backlash was instant. Among those who spoke out, Chef Eric Rivera, the Puerto Rican-American chef known for his bold approach to food and fierce commentary on inequality in the industry, blasted Fieri online, accusing him of aligning with a political figure Rivera viewed as dangerous. Rivera's posts didn't just call out the moment, they called out everything. He questioned Fieri's modern support of marginalized chefs, criticized his silence on industry-wide abuse, and accused him of prioritizing brand deals over community impact. It wasn't a quick jab. It was a full-on takedown. What made it even more explosive? Rivera wasn't some anonymous troll. He's a respected voice in modern American cuisine, and his words sparked a wave of commentary. Some agreed. Others accused him of overreacting. But no one ignored it. Guy Fieri didn't respond. Not in public, not on social media, not even in interviews. And that silence only fueled the fire. Was it calculated? Avoidance? Damage control? One thing's clear. This wasn't about food. It was about values, image, and who gets to be called a good guy in a divided industry. Rivera didn't just criticize Fieri's handshake. He questioned the entire brand behind the sunglasses and flames. And in an era where reputation can crumble overnight, the fallout was louder than any catchphrase Fieri's ever shouted on TV. Number 5. Mario Batali. At one point, Mario Batali was one of the most powerful chefs in America, a Food Network staple, an Iron Chef, and a man who prided himself on bringing serious Italian cuisine to the mainstream. But even at the peak of his fame, Batali couldn't resist taking a swipe at Guy Fieri. During a 2016 episode of The Chew, Batali made a slick, backhanded comment while critiquing a dish made by none other than Anthony Bourdain. He quipped, "This is a dump and stir? Guy Fieri could make this dish." The studio laughed, but it wasn't just a joke. It was a burn, the kind that says, "You're not a chef, you're a gimmick." Why did Batali, a man with Michelin-starred restaurants, feel the need to punch down? Some say it was professional jealousy. Others believe Batali simply didn't respect chefs who hadn't come up through the proper ranks. Fieri, who made his name through TV diners and big personality, was everything Batali wasn't, and everything he couldn't control. But here's where the story flips. Just a year later, Batali's entire empire collapsed. In 2017, he was hit with multiple allegations of sexual misconduct. His restaurants were dropped, his brand shattered, and his name removed from almost every major culinary space. Fieri, meanwhile, stayed standing. And suddenly, the insult didn't age well. Mario Batali tried to clown Fieri on national TV, but within 12 months, he was the one in disgrace. And Guy? Still hosting, still expanding, still in the spotlight. The dig may have landed in the moment, but history had other plans. In the end, Fieri didn't have to say a word. The industry said it for him. Was Anthony Bourdain right to tear Guy Fieri down, or was it just culinary snobbery disguised as wit? What do you think? Number 4. Snoop Dogg. Most people don't expect a gangsta rap icon to vibe with a flame-shirted food showman, but Snoop Dogg and Guy Fieri have one of the strangest, most entertaining crossovers in pop culture. And while it might look like an odd friendship from the outside, there was a moment when things between them got a little awkward. It started with mutual respect. Guy Fieri openly praised Snoop's unexpected culinary chops after watching him cook with Martha Stewart. Snoop, in return, called Guy the homie and gave him props for keeping it real on diners, drive-ins, and dives. They even joked about doing a food collab, something wild and weed-themed, of course. But in 2021, during an appearance on a live-stream cooking segment, Snoop suddenly cracked a joke that caught fans off guard. While prepping a dish, he threw a glance at the camera and said, "Man, Guy Fieri couldn't handle this heat. He'd be sweating through his frosted tips." The internet lit up. Was it a jab, a diss, or just Snoop being Snoop? Fieri didn't respond publicly, but fans noticed he stopped name-dropping Snoop in interviews and promo content afterward. For two stars who once hyped each other up, the silence was loud. Still, their tension never exploded into a full-on feud. It fizzled, weirdly. No shade thrown online, no tweets, no interviews, just distance. What really went down? Was it just a joke gone too far? Or did Guy take it personally? In an industry full of real beef, this one's more of a mystery, a once-fun crossover that suddenly vanished without explanation. One thing's for sure, when Snoop roasts you on air, even in jest, the burn lingers. Number 3. David Paige. Before diners, drive-ins and dives became a cultural phenomenon, there was one man behind the camera calling the shots. David Paige, the original creator and executive producer of the show. He helped launch Guy Fieri into superstardom, and then everything fell apart. Paige claims he built the show from scratch. He found the restaurants, shaped the concept, and gave Fieri his first real platform. But by season 2, things turned ugly. In 2010, Paige was fired by Food Network after a messy internal battle. What followed was a bitter, behind-the-scenes feud that nearly destroyed both of them. So how do you go from launching a megastar to accusing him of harassment? After his exit, Paige filed a lawsuit, claiming Fieri was verbally abusive, made homophobic and sexist remarks, and was impossible to work with on set. The lawsuit also accused Food Network of wrongful termination. It painted a picture of a chaotic production, a difficult star, and a toxic work environment. Fieri denied everything. His legal team called the claims baseless and said the network simply chose not to renew Paige's contract. The case was quietly settled, and neither side talked about it again, but the damage was done. For a brief moment, the entire diners, drive-ins, and dives empire looked like it might crumble under scandal. And yet, Fieri only got bigger. More shows, more branding, more fame. David Paige, on the other hand, vanished from the spotlight. But he didn't stop talking. In later interviews, he doubled down, calling Fieri unprofessional and ungrateful. This wasn't just a creative split. It was a war, one that launched a TV empire and then nearly blew it up from the inside. And the worst part? Most fans never even knew it happened. Number 2. Brooke Williamson. Brooke Williamson isn't just a fan favorite, she's a force. The Top Chef winner, restaurant owner, and one of the youngest chefs to ever cook at the James Beard House, Williamson commands serious respect in the culinary world. But what shocked viewers most? She didn't just compete on Guy Fieri's shows, she dominated them. It all started on Guy's Grocery Games, where Brooke appeared as a judge. At first, she felt unsure. Judging wasn't her comfort zone. She even admitted that being on the other side of the competition felt strange and stressful. That's when Fieri stepped in and gave her a tip that changed everything. Slow down your critique so contestants can actually hear and learn from it. What happens when the Flavortown king ends up mentoring one of the industry's fiercest competitors? She listened, and it paid off. Brooke eventually entered Fieri's most intense competition series, Tournament of Champions, and didn't just win, she crushed it. Her performance was clinical, fearless, and impossible to ignore. Fieri called her the fiercest competitor in the culinary battlefield, and viewers agreed. But here's the twist. Despite all the praise, Brooke isn't flashy. She doesn't play up the drama or chase the spotlight. And yet, Guy Fieri has consistently spotlighted her, elevated her, and given her space to shine. It's a rare move, and one that signals serious respect. In a food TV world built on noise, Brooke Williamson stands out because of her silence. Focused, disciplined, deadly in the kitchen. And Fieri knows it. That's why their connection works. She doesn't need Flavortown, but she owns it every time she walks in. Number 1. Richard Blae. Richard Blae didn't just survive the world of food television, he thrived in it. Known for his experimental cooking style, high-energy personality, and blowtorches at the ready attitude, Blae became a Top Chef winner and a mainstay in competitive cooking. So it makes perfect sense that when he crossed paths with Guy Fieri, the connection was instant and electric. Blae has been featured on Guy's Grocery Games more times than fans can count. He's judged, competed, mentored, and even cracked jokes at his own losses. But what's shocking is how quickly he became part of Guy's core circle. Not just another guest, but a recurring force behind the scenes. Unlike many chefs who see Fieri's shows as unserious, Blae leaned into the chaos and thrived in it. Why does a culinary futurist like Blae stick so close to a comfort food king like Guy? The answer is simple: respect. In interviews, Blae has called Guy one of the hardest working people in the business. He's credited Fieri with reshaping how chefs interact with mainstream media, turning food TV into something fun without killing the craft. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Blae doesn't need Guy. He has his own restaurants, books, podcast, and shows, but he keeps coming back. Not out of obligation, but because the Guy Fieri universe gives him something rare. Freedom to play. Freedom to fail. Freedom to blow stuff up in the kitchen and still walk away with a smile. Together, they've formed one of Food Network's most unexpected and strangely perfect alliances. A molecular gastronomy geek and the mayor of Flavortown. Against all odds, it works. And if there's one thing Richard Blae has proven, it's that brains, burners, and bleach blonde brilliance can coexist. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the next video for more exciting content.